Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name's Dave Abkarian. I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi, how are you? How's your week been? I know I'm a little late in getting this out to you guys, and I apologize for that. Wrapped up in a couple of different things, and this sort of fell by the wayside, so I apologize for that. But I got a great guest for you today. His name is Mike Wooten. He's another Fresno comedian. I adore this man. It's been kind of nice talking to the local guys, because it's obviously there's a chemistry, because I'm friends with them, and I've known them all for a while. So the last episode with Isaiah was great. I learned so much about Isaiah. He's kind of a private guy generally, and really doing that deep dive on him, and him being so open with me was really cool. I mean, I feel like I got to know Isaiah in a way that I just didn't before. He's just, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I talk about anything and everything, and not everybody's like that. So to really get to know a friend that way, maybe that's my fault. Maybe I just never asked. Maybe I'm just a shitty friend. It took a whole podcast for me to learn a thing about my friend. Wow, I am garbage. I am not a good friend. But we've been doing these online Zoom shows, these Zoom comedy shows. Have been an absolute, they've been a blast. It's like diet comedy, it's not, it's close, but it's not quite the real thing. I think a lot of comedians, myself included, our big reservation with doing comedy in the Zoom chat rooms online, you're worried you're not going to have any feedback. So much of comedy is the comedian feeding off of the audience energy, and vice versa, and so when you think about doing stand-up online, you're like, oh, how am I going to do this? But Zoom's kind of nice, because there is you can hear some laughter. It's like 2 to 3 beats behind where you normally would expect the laughs, but it's good enough, it scratches that itch a little bit. And so Monday nights we've been doing our Just the Tips virtual comedy experience, which has been a lot of fun. I've had some great comics. One of the cool things about it too is I can put together these dream lineups of comedians from Northern California and Southern California that I would under normal circumstances never get to put together on a show. And last night we had Clay Newman and Scott Powers, who are kind of Northern Central Valley, and then I guess Clay Newman's in LA now, but either way, it was more or less representative of Northern California comedy. And then I paired them up with Katrina Davis and Dana Turner, which are more Southern California. So it's cool. And then next week is the same way. I got 2 great Northern California comedians, Taylor Evans and Marcus Peverell, and then headlining is Keith Carey, and Kelsey Lane's going to be on that show too. So it's really, really kind of fun, and I've been enjoying it. Like I said, not quite the same, but it's an experience. We've been having some pretty good turnouts for those, way bigger than our normal shows. We've been getting 50 people out to the virtual shows, and I'm like, where the hell were you guys when we were doing these things for real? But whatever, everybody's having fun. So check those out. It's every Monday night. If you go to my social media, you can see all the details on that and the Zoom login and password. But cool, let's talk about today's guest. I mentioned him just a little bit ago. Mike Wooten. Mike Wooten has been a real staple of the Fresno comedy scene. He burst into the scene about a year ago, and really is just one of those guys that wants to put in the work, and he's just so supportive of everything, a lot of times you see egos in comedy that kind of ruin stuff, and Mike is not a guy that's got a big ego about anything. He's funny, he's talented, putting in the work, he supports the shows. He's been our digital bouncer for the Just the Tips online shows. We give him all the hosting powers if anybody's being too noisy, he kind of shuts them down and makes sure the show keeps running well. And in addition to being a great comedian that performs on those shows, so I love him. I think you guys are gonna like him a lot too. He drove all the way over to my place again in the middle of a pandemic, risking life and limb to be here. And so without further ado, let's jump in. Mike Wooten, everybody.
Want to hang out when the quarantine's over? This is just right now. Assuming things aren't well with you. It's like, damn, bitch, you must be really lonely.
That's funny. Yeah, it's been a lot of. I've gotten a lot of messages from like ex-girlfriends and stuff. I think it's like everybody's kind of bored and everybody's kind of lonely too.
For sure. What else is there to do besides call up your ex at 3 in the morning?
Yeah, no shit. I'm gonna scoot this like super close to you.
Go. Good.
And I can actually scoot this closer to you.
Sick.
There we go. That way it's not so hyperextended.
Oh yeah. Cool.
There we go. All right. Cool. Yeah. And you found the place okay?
Yeah.
I was standing on my front porch and vape. I call it dope signals.
Okay.
Just so you know
what's it? Oh, like when you're out, you're like follow the cloud of vape to Dave's house. Yeah, an old Native American thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Long tradition of vaping. That's cool, man. You've been working from home.
I have, yeah. Fortunately, I did not lose the job. Yeah,
that's great.
They just said I was at work about a week longer than what I felt comfortable with.
Oh shit.
And then it was like right the weekend after St. Patrick's Day. That's when they said you can start working from home. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
So I think the CEO of the company, I think he still goes in every day.
Really?
I think him and I think one other person still go to the office every day.
Do you how limited do you feel like your capacity is like working from home? You know what I mean? Like because I know that's like a lot of people are like, oh, we can do a lot of shit from home.
I can do pretty much everything. The only annoying thing is that at work I have 4 monitors, and then I do like IT shit,
right?
And then from home I just have like a laptop, so it's like I'm not as like productive, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
Fuck, yeah. I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose. Yeah.
Did you make that adjustment okay? Like working from home?
Yeah, I like it a whole lot better because the commute is 30 seconds.
Yeah, you were saying you had
to my living room. Yeah,
you were saying you had to jump your car to get here.
Yeah, I haven't driven anywhere in a while. Yeah.
The
only time I leave the house is if I go on a run or something like that, and then I come right back, and that's it.
For sure. Like I think I've gassed up my truck one time since this all went down.
I think maybe once. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember too. I actually remember the last time I got gas because I had driven. I was running. No. I had driven all the way to DeChico's, which is about a 20-minute drive from my house.
Okay.
And I as I was going there, my gas light came on. I was like, oh, I'll just fill up after the show. And then I realized that I had forgotten my wallet.
Oh shit.
And I never forget my wallet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I had so much anxiety over the fact that I didn't have my wallet. Yeah. And also, too, it was like, I don't know where it is. Like, if I don't have it on me, like, I assume it's at my house, but maybe, like, I dropped it somewhere. Like,
I don't remember throwing it.
Yeah. And so, like, I remember I had this, like, I set up the room at DeChico's, and then I was like, I gotta go home and get my wallet. Like, right now. Like, I need it now. And, I need to do this now. And also, too, I figured if I ran out of gas, it would be better to have it happen at like 6 o'clock in the evening rather than like whenever we leave DeChico's, like 11:30 or something. Yeah. And so I had this like
to come out late at night or something.
Like I had this like anxiety, like just this terrible drive back to my house. Like, please don't run out of gas. Please don't run out of gas. Please don't run out. I got home and found my wallet. And anyway, all of that is to say, that's the last time I got gas.
Oh, shit, okay.
That is it.
Where's the nearest gas station? You're kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's not far. This is right around the corner. There's a Chevron. Oh, dude, this fucking... hey, baby.
Hello.
This is Mike.
Hello.
We're doing a podcast.
How's it going?
You good? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're going to keep going.
Okay.
All right. Amazon is right over here.
Okay, yeah.
There's a big distribution center.
Yeah.
Caught on fire yesterday.
I heard about that, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Really? Okay.
I don't know, man. It was just kind of wild to see Amazon on fire. It was the solar panels or something. Everybody.
You, Jeff Bezos. Yeah, this is what you get.
It was like weird timing. I was messaging. I forget who I was messaging about that. It was weird timing because they just found out that a guy had COVID at that facility last month.
The whole place went into blaze.
They didn't tell anybody.
Oh, really?
They
Okay.
didn't tell anybody.
Huh.
He tested positive like on March 9th. And they didn't tell everybody about it until like April 10th.
Oh,
they were like,
yeah.
"Oh, by the way,
Yeah, it's
a guy had coronavirus. He was fine, or he got better." And they're like, "But they're like, you didn't tell us. Like, we all could have had. We
Did
just
they
got
know what
lucky."
the cause of the fire was?
The fire was the solar panels on the roof.
Huh.
But I was like, this seems really
Yeah, it's
suspicious.
conspiracy theory, yeah,
like, because
yeah.
they just like made this information available. Like, if I was a disgruntled employee, I'd do it. But I mean, it's so.
You hear that, CIA? Listening to this podcast?
They'll never hire me now. Yeah, it was really weird timing, I think, but that's just me putting on my conspiratorial hat. I also think it'd be really hard to like burn a place like that to the ground, you know, because like there's probably so much fire suppression in there. Like,
I'm sure it's like what is it, flame retardant or whatever?
Yeah. Like, I don't think you could just like throw a few firecrackers at like, you know.
I'm dumb enough to, I don't even know how I would start a fire. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
I mean, you light a paper. I mean, you probably have to do, I don't know. How do you even do that?
Yeah,
Gas?
it's like hard enough to like start a fire in the forest, you know? Like, like where everything is wood.
You hear that? Mountie Rangers? What do we have? What do they call those guys?
I don't know. Oh, the forestry, the national
Cal Fire or whatever?
Yeah, that's
Those
it. Cal
guys,
Fire.
yeah.
It's fucking Mounties.
Your audience is only officials that work for the government. Yeah.
The son of a bitches. Yeah. So anyway, the Amazon, it was fine. I think there was. Oh, I remember my point I was trying to make, but because we have this Amazon facility now, they just like half a mile from here, not even that far. They just opened, or they're opening a 7-Eleven.
Okay. Wait, what's the correlation?
Well, because because this is so remote that those workers don't and it's already hard enough with Amazon to like, they're already shitty about their breaks. So it's like, there's like one taco truck that's just fucking cleaning up right now.
Couldn't they just order groceries from Amazon? Just like this build right to
Instacart. Yeah. And so I'm getting a 7-Eleven real close to my house.
Coming up in the world, yeah.
You know, it's funny because this has been like such a like remote, like middle of nowhere part of the world for so long that like it's weird to see like civilization creeping up on.
That's what my dad says too, because he's ancient, and whenever he drives around, he's like, "There used to all just be fields out here." And it's like,
dude, and I feel like I'm doing that with my kid now. I'm like, this is over here. This is what long is over here. It's like, Dad, you are 34 years old. Like,
that's how long it took, was 34 years.
Not even. Yeah, it's crazy. You just bought a house.
Yeah.
You're like being a homeowner.
I have no money. Yeah. All the jokes are true. All the jokes are accurate.
You've got some great bits about it.
So that's about the only thing that's different.
What was the point where you're like, I need to do it. Like, I need to buy a house.
I got a job where I was finally making like decent money. So I was like, oh, let's do it now before, I don't know. Yeah. I lived in Tower for a lot too. I lived in Tower for a long time. I lived there for a really long time. I had a little 1-bedroom there. Yeah. And then now I live where everybody's either white or Indian for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I live by like Woodward Park area.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a nice area though.
Yeah, if I had kids, yeah. But it's me and it's a weird house. Like, you open the front door and there's stairs that go up. And there's stairs that go down. Oh, wow. And there's a living room, master bedroom, and kitchen upstairs.
Oh, interesting.
And then the mid-level, there's just a half bath. That's it.
Is it a condo or a house?
No, it's a house.
It's a house.
Then, it's called like a Washington-style house or some shit. And then downstairs, there's another living room. And then there's 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. Yeah. So I have friends that live downstairs, and then I live upstairs. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's the setup.
Is there like, if I were to like drive through that neighborhood, like, do you think I could spot your house without knowing which one it is? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
there's no way. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the fucking like HOA president shows up. You got a lot of cinder blocks on your lawn. Like.
Yeah. There was one time I took my bed frame and I was gonna like dump it, but I was like, oh, where do I dump this? So I just left it out on my lawn for overnight. And then I had a girl come over the next day, and she was just like, is your house the one with them? Like, oh, I forgot that was even out there. Yeah, we're the white trash in the neighborhood. Yeah,
that seems like it's like I'm just like so. I mean, I'm a very like liberal guy.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the idea of an HOA just fucking like I turned full blown Republican states' rights. I'm like, you gotta tell me what to do with my property.
Yeah.
Like the idea.
I don't think we even have any of those in the neighborhood. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. That's, there were rules. I forgot about that. I forgot there were rules that I had to like go over whenever I moved in. Yeah. It was like, they said like you have to keep your lawn mowed or whatever, and you have to like make sure there's no. I don't know. It was a bunch of dumb shit, but I just pay people to do it.
Yeah.
So
we had to let our like lawn guys go. Well, they didn't do my lawn though. They just did my folks' lawn. Like but one thing my parents did pay for me, which was so fucking cool of them, is they had a bug guy. Like they have a bug guy that would come around. And like his name was Dave too, and he was super cool. And he would kind of like, hey, what's up? And he was just fucking spraying around the house. And
I bet with like the fields and stuff, you probably do get a whole lot.
Well, and that's the thing is like they had to let him go too, and I immediately noticed the difference.
Oh, really?
Like there are like I have ants, like little black ants that I never had before, and there's more flies. There's a fucking wasp nest like just took up residence like on this back corner of my house, and I'm like, oh man, like that's one of those shit jobs where like you don't know the guy's doing a great job until he stops. And
I wonder what he even sprays.
I don't know. He just shows up with his like he's got like a mom and pop shop like operation. He's just got his like Ford Ranger that he shows up with like a fucking 1,000-foot hose. And super nice dude. Like my dad has a wood shop, and he like Dave, our bug guy, will just come out to the wood shop sometimes. And
my parents, they live on a bunch of land too. So growing up, there were always spiders and stuff like that. You'd have, and then as soon as I moved to the city, no more spiders. I never saw a single spider. I've never seen a single ant. Yeah. But I had a mouse one time.
Oh yeah.
And then I had bedbugs one time, and that was fucking terrible.
What I've heard, like bedbugs are the worst.
It's the worst thing in the entire world. Like I would not wish that on anybody. It was the worst.
Because it's like the plague. Like you can't take any of your stuff anywhere.
You can't do anything except for like there's no way to get rid of them either. You have to call an exterminator. It's the only way.
Jesus.
And it was awful. Yeah, because I didn't know. You also it's like. You also like feel dirty, but it's like it's not from being dirty; they just happen. And, so it's like so you can't even. It's like with ants, you leave out like trash and stuff.
Right?
Like,
you're like, I got to pick this up, and the ants are gonna get it.
It's not like that; they just happen. Yeah. And I was trying to think of like how I even got them, and I was racking my brain. Only thing I could think of is that I came back from Yosemite. And I was just like, maybe they like hopped on my bag or something. Yeah, while I was out there. Whatever. That's
totally true. Yeah. Like you could have stayed over at a friend's house that had them, and then they got all over your.
It's like herpes. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
And
man.
I didn't know what it was either at first. I just thought I had like I was allergic to something. So I was like, was there a dog? Yeah, there was a dog over here recently. Like maybe I'm allergic to dogs.
This happened in your new place?
Yeah, it was like within the first like month that I moved in.
Oh, well, that would have fucking bummed
me. So it's like as soon as I moved in, I was just like, oh, maybe there's something like new in the air, like maybe it's the new house or something like that.
Yeah, because there's like so many variables at that point when you're in like a new.
It was like within like a month of moving in. That's when that happened.
So you grew up in Fresno?
I was born in Salinas, actually.
Oh, okay.
I lived by like Monterey area, but I lived in Fresno for a long time. Yeah, pretty long time.
Well, when did you leave Salinas?
I was a kid, like maybe like 5.
Oh, okay. So like you're entire.
I did all of my schooling here in Fresno, that kind of good stuff.
I got you. What high school did you go to?
Clovis East. Yeah, my parents, they live out in the like country as well, like the middle of nowhere as well, but the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And if I would have lived like one street further east, I would have gone to Sanger schools.
Oh, no shit.
But I went to Clovis East instead. That was like a new school at the time.
Yeah.
I remember them when they built it. They built it like while I was in
I think
7th grade, 6th grade.
Yeah, because how old are you?
I'm 28.
28. Yeah. I'm 34.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think it would have just been built while I was getting out of high school. So that's it. Sounds about right. She goes to Sanger.
Okay. Really? How far is that? How far is that?
From here, it's like literally like due east, like 25 minutes. So it's not the worst.
Yeah.
I've had. I mean, because like North Fresno from here is 25 minutes. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's like, whatever.
My sister, she teaches in Kerman, but she lives in Fresno. And it's about the same thing.
Dude, that fucking 180 is great. Like you just cuts right through. What kind of student were you? Were you like a good kid? Were you like an overachiever? What was Mike Wooten like as a kid?
I did band. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I did band when I was there.
That's right. I forgot you played in and out of like shitty punk bands.
Yeah. I was in like metalcore, hardcore punk bands, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What'd you play?
I did vocals, yeah. But in band, I did like the screams and stuff. Anyway, but in band, I played. I did trumpet. I did percussion.
Nice.
I did French horn. Yeah.
Oh, nice
stuff.
I like the French. The French horn is the classiest, like brass instrument.
Hooked up with a bunch of color guard girls, just
yeah. It's so funny. Like at our school, the dynamic was like the color guard. I don't. Maybe it's like this at all schools, but the color guard were like they were like lower income. Like the rich girls all were in the cheer squad. And like the poor girls were all in color guard. Yeah. And so it was just like, the color guard was like rough. Like they were like bad bitches that would fuck you up. And it was really cool though, because like if you were in band, they were on your side. So I had like all of these like fucking
teardrop tattoo.
Yeah. These rough like chicks from the other side of the tracks were just all on my team instantly because I was in band and it was the best.
What'd you play?
I was a percussionist, and then I was a drum major.
Like, really?
Yeah, and then I played like I was in like jazz band and stuff too. I did bass guitar and I did drums, and that was sort of like my. I was awful at everything, including being the drum major.
We were really good at marching when I was there.
All the Clovis schools were.
Yeah, we like won shit. I don't know what they're called. Tournaments are or whatever. We won those, and then when I graduated, that they like switched band directors, and then they got really, really bad. And I think they're still bad to this day.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
It's good. I'm glad that there's one bad Clovis school band because they were also good.
I think they're still bad. Yeah, I'm not sure. I
hope so.
I haven't swung by recently. Yeah,
hanging around the old alma mater. Fucking standing in the lunchroom smoking a cigarette.
Still wearing my Letterman jacket.
Good for you, Mike. Yeah. So anyway, you were in band, and I'm sorry. Were you a good student? Were you like getting?
I've always been better at like English and spelling and stuff. So I would be in like honors English and like remedial math.
Funny.
So
that sounds
my senior year, there were 8th graders that would walk over from the junior high to come to my math class because they gave like algebra, whatever the fuck, when I was still trying my best, so
nice.
So I was in honors English, remedial math, pretty much the whole way through. Yeah.
And what about growing up? Were you like kind of a comedy nerd growing up, or what were you into?
Yeah. I've always liked comedy. I remember like high school. I was big into like sketch stuff like that, like sketch comedy. Yeah. Like YouTube stuff. That's when YouTube was popping off.
Right.
Like Donald Glover, he used to do like that Derek comedy thing. I remember. So Childish Gambino, his first 2 mixtapes are straight up bad. They're not good. It's not good music. But I would like force myself. I'm like, no, because this guy's really funny though. I like the I want to like this stuff too. And then eventually he got better. And now he's like a superstar. So yeah.
You
heard it here first. That's the only thing I've ever been early to in my life was liking Childish Gambino.
And so. I mean, and then you go off school, and then did you major in CS? Like,
no. So I work in IT, but I don't even do IT.
Oh, weird.
I do like purchasing for the company.
Oh, okay.
So I do that kind of stuff. My major was graphic design. Never used it.
Wow.
Never used it. Not even once.
Here I am making all the fucking comedy posters.
Well, that's the thing too. Because I was talking to, so since we've all been quarantined, we can't do like stand up or anything like that. I've been doing like I guess shitty podcasts, but it's just us just recording our Zoom chats or whatever.
Oh, right.
And we had an idea of doing let's stream a movie, and then we all watch the movie, and then people can watch along with us or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, dang, I don't even have a computer anymore to make a flyer. Like, so I was trying to do it on my phone. It's like, this is terrible. Yeah, I don't own a computer anymore.
Yeah, I can get you a crack copy of Photoshop.
Yeah, I probably have it somewhere on an external hard drive or something like that. But maybe I'll do that with my Trump check or whatever, the stimulus check.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I don't know. My buddy usually just hooks it up. My buddy's been doing graphic design for. He's one of those self-taught guys, but so yeah, he like. I usually just hand my laptop to Isaac, and I'm like, make this
flyer?
work. Yeah. He's like, there you go. And I threw in FL Studio.
And whenever I see other people's flyers too, I'm like, oh, that sucks. And like, I could do so much better, but I won't.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst, dude.
Yeah,
like, I was like that too. Like, because I was like, for the longest time, our shows didn't have posters because I hated comedy posters.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got to the point though where like hang on one second, I gotta go yell at my kid. She's like,
don't you know that Dad's podcasting?
Abby, you gotta keep it down a little bit, baby. I can hear you on the mic. Okay? Just chill a little bit. Cool, thank you. Are you guys winning?
Don't you know it's podcasting time?
Yeah, don't you know I'm trying to do my silly fake thing over here?
I'm supposed to be yelling and making noises. If you want to start your own podcast.
We didn't have posters for our shows for the longest time because I just hate comedy posters.
Yeah.
But like you get to a point where because of the algorithm and like everything.
Now that I'm doing this, I'll probably eventually get back because I remember way back in the day, I used to make flyers for comedy shows. I had friends that were comics when I was like 20, 21.
Yeah,
and
right.
they'd be like, "Can you make me a flyer?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So that's what I would do. That I would do flyers for like comedy shows and like band, like music live shows.
Yeah,
for like shitty hardcore bands, just because I wanted to like to practice. So that's how I started like teaching myself or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah.
I
should probably do that now.
Yeah,
that I'm doing this.
get back.
Remember shows? Yeah, if shows
remember shows and like remember things that we had to have for shows. Like that was so cool. Obviously graphic design. That's cool. Yeah. And now you ordered.
Yeah, I buy stuff. That's all I do.
Bits and bobs.
That's about it. Yeah,
it's good.
So,
I don't know, but at some point you're like, I need a little bit more. I gotta. I gotta start. I mean, how long were you like kicking around the comedy thing?
So I've always like tweeted jokes and like posted shit on like Facebook and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you're very funny. Like,
I've been doing that for like as long as there's been social media because I always think like, who cares about what I'm doing? Like,
right.
People want to laugh. Like I don't want to be like, oh, I had a sandwich today. It's like that's boring.
I relate to that so hard too because for the longest time I know I've said this on the podcast before, but like for the longest time people would come to me like, hey, I like before I was ever in comedy, they'd be like, I really like that joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even think of it as jokes. Like I think of it as like just being funny. Like I'm just trying to be funny.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to write jokes. I was just trying to be funny on the internet. Yeah. And then because like people that I'm friends with that post like the most boring shit of all time. It's like, who cares?
Yeah, what is this? Yeah.
So that's like the first time I ever went to an open mic. I just was reading old tweets. Like that was just like, which one were the best ones that got the most retweets? I'm just gonna read those on stage.
Yeah.
So
that's great. Where was your first mic? You started someplace weird, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, it was the mixed mic. Well, so here's the thing. I had friends. Do you remember Will Ushbaugh at all?
I didn't. I never met Will. Like I'm friends with all of like. There's there's a Will shaped hole in the comedy scene.
Him and Jeremiah Lloyd.
Yeah.
Back like we'd all just turned 21, so it's like, oh, we can finally drink. Okay, let's go out. So like we can like. We'll watch your comedy show so we can also like drink at bars for the first time kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I would make their flyers and that kind of stuff. So then I knew in the back of my mind, like, I know there's comedy like somewhere around town. So then I knew somebody else too that said they were going to start doing comedy. And I remember thinking like, or like doing stand up. And I remember just thinking like, what? Like I'm funnier than you. Like if you're going to do that, I could probably do that. So the first time I ever went up was Full Circle Olympic had just opened. They'd been open for maybe like a few weeks, and they had and I lived right next to it. I lived in Tower District, and they had a mixed mic on a Monday or a Tuesday or something like that. And I went and I told just my tweets, and it went decently well-ish.
Yeah.
It was enough for me to be like, okay, I didn't like embarrass myself.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't good, but And then I went back the next week, and as I got on stage, the guy that was like in charge of that one or whatever, he goes, "Hey man, I saw you last week. Keep it clean this time." Like as I'm already on stage about to start.
Oh, cool.
So I was just
Thanks,
like,
man.
So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And he just goes, try to keep it clean. And I was like, not gonna. So I just told the same jokes that I said the last week. And then afterwards, I was like, was that bad? And he just goes, no, it's funny, man. So I'm like, so it's fine as long as it's funny. Like this is stupid. So
funny. Yeah. That is an interesting sentiment.
So then I texted Will Ushbaugh and I said, "Hey, where are there comedy mics like in town?" And he just goes, you should like, because he doesn't live here anymore. He lives up in the Bay.
He moved up north. Yeah.
And he goes, you should talk to Danny Minch. I think he still does one like once a week or something like that. So then that was on a Wednesday, I think. So then that Sunday I started going to Grog's.
Right.
And then after that it was just kind of that whole cycle.
Hell yeah.
So
I may have to edit this out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an infamous story.
Okay.
About Will.
Oh, okay, go for it.
And I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's okay. Here's the thing.
Okay.
There's a story I've heard about Will where at some point while he was on stage, I don't know where this was. I think it was at Tide Palms.
Okay.
He had a Ziploc bag full of shit.
That was Zinwalk Fusion. I was there for that show.
Okay, was it real shit?
Yeah, it was real shit.
Oh, geez, was it? Yeah. Whose shit was it?
His.
Oh, okay, all right.
He went up to the woods and he was hanging out with friends. I guess they were camping. I don't know what they were doing, but he ate a bunch of. I think he did acid. It was either mushrooms or acid. But he did it on purpose because he wanted to like be on acid on stage. I'm pretty sure it was acid actually. He wanted to be on stage on acid for the show that night. And then at one point he was wearing a backpack on stage the entire time.
Okay.
And then at one point he like pulled out the bag and was just like, "Look what I've created!" And, like was smushing it through like the Ziploc bag and stuff too. And yeah, I died. I was like, "That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life." But there were a lot of other people there that were just eating their dinner that did not agree.
Because obviously I wasn't there for it, and I've heard this story. And then I mentioned it to somebody, and they were like, "Oh, it probably wasn't even poop.
100% real."
It was like he probably just put pudding in there and just freaked everybody out. And I'm like, "Oh, maybe that is what it is."
If you know Will, it's 100%. It's real shit. He's not going to do any fake stuff. It's definitely.
He's not a fucking poser. That's wild. Yeah.
That's a true story. Yeah.
As someone who knows Will, would he, if he heard what was just said, would he be like?
He would absolutely be 100% fine with it.
Okay, cool.
In fact, he would want you to post it.
Okay, good.
He would be angry if you edited it out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And like I said, I've heard a few people mention it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, Will. I don't know. I wasn't there that night, so like,
absolutely 100% real. Yeah,
it's good to get some hilarious. Like a first-hand account of what happened.
Hilarious. Yeah, I met a lot of people back then, like that, or like I met like Danny back then, and who else? Like Kevin Teagan back then, and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they even still do comedy anymore.
Kevin does.
I've seen Byron Campbell.
Byron pops in every now and then.
Yeah.
Kevin Tinkin's down in LA doing his thing. He comes up every now and then. It was just a weird time. I mean, that was what Fresno comedy was for a long time.
Yeah, that was like my
first
first experience to like the Fresno comedy scene was like back then.
Well, and I mean, but that's just sort of like the reason the scene is ebbed and flowed like it is because people will like get good and then they move. They get good and then they move. And so like you have these weird like generations of like Fresno comedy, and nobody's really been around to like stick it out and everybody would kind of like leave before they brought up like the next generation, and I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do is like like before like you and Dugan and Isaiah and all of you guys leave, like hopefully we've got some guys that are coming up behind you where it's not like this weird like deficit that we're left in. Anyway. Well, it's cool. Thank you for that bit of Fresno fucking comedy history. I've been very curious about.
Yeah. That's crazy. Good times. Tide Palms, I remember those. I think I met Chris Cruz back then too. But yeah. Anyway, so at least I knew where to find it once I started like wanting to actually do it. And then,
it went well enough, and then he started showing up to Grog's, and then that's it.
Is here we are now.
Right. Well, you're Mike Wooten.
Yeah.
And this is a podcast called Sad Dad.
Yeah.
This is where we talk about dads.
Yeah.
And you have a dad.
I do have a dad.
You mentioned him.
He's still alive. Kicking.
And we were talking about this earlier. It's like, I know it's a big ask. I always like to start right at the beginning. Where did your dad grow up? Was it Salinas or?
No, he, we're Okies. So my grandpa came out to here when he was like a kid, when he was like 6 or 7 or whatever. Because like Grapes of Wrath, that's us.
Yeah.
Like his two uncles, one was 18, one was 19. And they were just like, there's no jobs, so we're going to go out to California where there's jobs. If anybody wants to come, you guys can come. So the whole family like went out there. Yeah. And then my dad cries every time he watches Grapes of Wrath.
Does he really?
He's like, these are our people. I'm just like,
oh no shit.
Anyway,
I mean, it's kind of nice. Yeah.
But, my dad likes to say that he was born in Selma because they didn't have enough gas to get to Fresno.
Oh,
so,
wow.
That's what he likes to say. But anyway, but yeah, they started a farm. They farmed. They had like a dairy farm and stuff like that. Cotton. They did that kind of stuff too.
Was he part of was he part of a big family, or was he?
Nah, ish. Yeah, ish kind of.
I mean, do you have a lot of brothers and sisters, or?
Yeah, it was my grandpa had a brother, and then those are like the kids that went out there then, and then I think it was just the 2 uncles, mom, dad.
And I guess something we should say up top too. I mean, your dad's much older than most people's dads.
My dad's 71, I believe.
And you're 28.
Yeah. Okay. So he had me when he was in his 40s. Yeah. And so my dad, he always likes to say, "Oh, I should have done something, shouldn't I? Yeah, I should have done something." Because like people are always like, "Oh, you should have done like," because he went to all he knew was like farm. So when he grew up, he just milked cows all the time. Then he milked for like other people's dairies to like save up money. Eventually, like went to college and paid his way through college off like literally milk money. But
they call me the milker.
But he got a degree in like animal husbandry, which is like the mating of animals and stuff like that. Right. And then he got a job working as like the dairy foreman for a prison. Up in like the Salinas area. Yeah. So like the inmates get jobs or whatever. Oh, interesting. So he ran a dairy for the.
So he's like that scene for, like in the opening of Cool Hand Luke, where people are like, "Take it off my jacket, boss." He's like, take off your jacket.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So that's him. Yeah, he had like a degree in like chemistry because he had to take so many classes for that. So he's really smart, but it's like he decided to just be a dairy guy the entire life.
Yeah, but he's like the smartest dairy guy.
I guess. Yeah. If I ever have any questions about like I remember one time like, "Dad, what's radiated milk?" Because I saw it on like the can. And he goes, "Oh, it's when they it's like, "Oh, how do you know that?" That kind of stuff. So if I have any cow questions or that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So he's okay. So yeah, he's growing up. He's a meat and potatoes boy. Yeah. Growing up in the valley. Yeah. He's raising cows. He's keeping an eye on prisoners. Yeah, are you his only kid, or
no? I have a sister. Yeah. So my parents didn't know they could have kids.
Interesting.
They thought like my mom wasn't able to have kids because like health, whatever. So they were married for like 8 or 9 years, and they had my sister. And then 8 or 9 years later, they had me. Oh, so my sister's like in her like mid 36, 37. I don't know how old she is.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty big gap. So
Well, and how did your folks meet?
Church. My dad's a preacher too. Like now he's retired. Yeah, he preaches. Yeah, so that's
dude. What a fucking that guy bleeds the Central Valley.
Yeah.
He's fucking milking cows and preaching the word of God.
Yeah. So he still does that now that he's retired. He just preaches he tries to preach for churches that can't afford to pay a preacher. He'll just do it for free because he's old and has nothing else to do this time.
Sure.
So my sister was always the one that like did everything right. Like she doesn't drink. She doesn't like I don't think she's ever like cursed before or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah. And then for me, I would be the one like, "Oh, I'm going to go spend the night at Jimmy's house, Dad." And then he'd drive by and there'd be like 80 cars out front. It was a party. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
And how did your folks meet?
Oh, through church, yeah. My dad, he was in the Army. He did like his basic training or whatever. It was during like Korea.
I was going to say, he's a rough age to have just been in the Army. He's like, he went to your fucking Vietnam.
He never went anywhere, but he was just did his basic training and stuff. I think he was in Montana or something. Okay. Is that where he was? Something like that. But when he finished that, he came back to Fresno afterwards. And that's where Sanger, I guess. And then that's where he met my mom. Like my mom had like just graduated high school and he just came back. So so he's a little bit older than she is.
And he's such a stud too. Like he's a fucking military vet. This guy is of the earth.
So they got married and they eventually moved to Salinas to go do job stuff. He has some crazy stories too. Like I remember one time he said that he was offered the job like late 80s to they said like, like we'll pay you like a huge salary. You'll be making like $1 million like a year or whatever to run your own like I don't think it was dairy. I think it was just like a cattle ranch kind of thing.
Yeah.
But over in straight up Iraq.
Whoa.
So like the company was saying, we'll put you over there. Like we'll give you a house and that kind of stuff too. If you want
year
to.
Is this?
Late 80s. So, but he was just like, nah, I don't think I can do that. And then like later, the 90s were just like all like fucking war. Reagan's over there bombing the shit up.
Yeah.
So my dad's always just like,
fucking using chemical weapons on the Kurds. Yeah.
So luckily, otherwise I'd probably not be here right now. I'd probably be speaking Iraqi somewhere.
Wow. Do you have any sense of? I guess I'm going to ask you two questions. Do you have any sense of what his relationship was like with your sister growing up? And then the second question would be like, what was your relationship like with him yourself? Like, I mean, do you feel like there was a difference between like how he parented your sister and how he parented you?
So yeah, probably one of the reasons why I'm the way that I am is that we lived in Salinas. The reason why we moved back is because the neighborhood that we lived in was a bunch of old people, and then they all started dying. So then like young like college kids would be moving in and stuff.
Oh, funny.
And they did some crazy shit. Like my mom had a bunch of rose bushes, and one day they just like chopped them all down, like just for like no reason. So mom was just like, "What? These were like ours, like on our side of like the fence or whatever." And then the final straw was my sister had a pet rabbit, and they straight up ate the rabbit.
Oh my god! Are you sure these are college kids and not fucking? I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, but I remember them saying that, or like telling me that, like growing up, they're like, yeah, like we saw it skinned hanging up on their back porch or whatever. I don't know if they thought it was wild or something like that. But that was like they're like, well, we're moving. So
is this fucking the hills have eyes? Like, what is this?
They moved back to Fresno, and my dad still had his job though, so it would be every single Friday. He'd come home from work, which would be getting back, and then on Sunday, Sunday night he'd leave again.
Yeah,
and then during the week he'd work. He'd live in like those little like captain's quarters things they had at the prison. He'd live there. He'd like shower and stuff at like the YMCA they had or whatever. And then just because like he didn't have another job here yet.
Sure.
And then sixth grade he had to retire medically because he fucked up his hands from like just working his whole life. So he had carpal tunnel and stuff. So
utter-induced carpal tunnel.
So that's when he moved. Like he retired, so then he started living here again, and then so seventh grade on, I think, is when he was now like here all the time. So
and then I mean, so your sister's got to be super. Yeah, your sister's got to be what, 3 or 4 during this time, like the point that they're like moving, and your dad's commuting back and forth to Salinas.
My sister is older than me, so I was probably like. My sister was probably like in like high school or something like that.
What? No, your sister wasn't in high school in the late 80s.
No. I'm talking about like my sister grew up in Salinas. Like she.
Did she really?
Yeah, she spent most of her life there because they were doing that. They moved back when I was like already.
That's right. For some reason, I was still stuck in like the fucking.
No.
Stuck in like
this was like when I was already alive. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay, I followed.
So we moved back when I was.
I'm down.
Like a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
So my sister, she was in high school and stuff.
I got you
doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so your dad was just a little more hands off with you? Is that what you feel like it was?
I could probably, because he was never there. It'd be like my mom, just raising me for the most part, and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that's because he was working.
Yeah, he was working. Yeah.
So. I mean, was he ever the type to like sit down and like be like, okay, we're doing your homework now, like?
No, because that would be the weekends. I wouldn't have any homework. Yeah, so for me, it was mostly like yard work, that kind of stuff.
I got you.
They're old now, but they don't have a dairy anymore. But they still live on that land, so there's like 40 acres out there.
I got you.
And so like weekends would be like mowing like 5 lawns, and then like pruning trees. They have a bunch of eucalyptus trees, and my dad would prune them, but he'd always like complain the entire time, being like, "No idea why anybody would plant these. These are terrible." And it's like, you can chop them down, Dad.
I have eucalyptus trees, and they're the fucking worst.
Yeah, they have little shitty like leaves that you can't rake up nicely. That's most of my life doing that.
They're sap and they're stuck and they stink.
It sucks.
The 2 worst things to have are eucalyptus trees and oleanders.
Okay.
Oleanders suck because they're poisonous.
We have one of those, yeah.
Yeah, and that's all I have in my front yard. Eucalyptus trees on this side and oleanders straight across. It's
a very Central California thing too.
I think so.
Eucalyptus trees, or as my grandpa would say, eucalyptus, because they're oaky as fuck. Yeah.
Right. So, I'm like, because like this house was originally my grandmother had this house and she planted that. I'm like, what? She's like, I want to look at my front lawn and think of a freeway. That's what I want. Yeah. I want that freeway foliage. I don't know, but so are you and your dad close? Are they?
Yeah. Normally I would go see them like usually every Sunday. Usually swing by and just say what's up. But now we're quarantined and they're old, so I've been trying to like not be over there.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. Because my parents are like that too. And it was just like. I was like, Mom, you can't go to the church anymore. Like,
yeah. That's what I had to tell them too. I'm like, don't go anymore. Because my mom has cancer too. So it's like, you are old and you also have cancer. You are like the demographic for dying.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. My dad too. Like he had this. My dad was sort of like, because our family business, it like relies pretty heavily on dry cleaners. We service dry cleaners and the boilers and stuff.
Okay.
And my dad was like, "Oh, we're gonna be good. Like dry cleaners are an essential business. Like
who's going out?
Yeah,
like no one's dry cleaning their clothes."
And that was the thing. It's like, and then like that sort of like dawned on my dad a few weeks ago. He's like, "Oh no," and I was like, I mean, that is a nice thing about this whole thing is like I don't think the government is out to get anybody right now. Like my mom was like making up all these, not making up, but she's like, well, we can't get these loans because of this and this and this. And I was like, you couldn't get those loans before.
Yeah.
Like they're making so many exceptions right now for people on so many, like all of those old rules don't really apply anymore.
Yeah.
And they're talking to a guy with their bank right now. And they're like, oh, it's not going to be as bad as we think. And it's kind of
that's crazy.
So your dad's retired now?
Yeah, he's been retired for a long time.
How does he like it?
He hates it. Yeah, he doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? He'll like work on like lessons to preach, and that's it. Yeah, he doesn't really do anything else. He watches TV.
I was gonna say, is he a sports guy? Is he like?
No, not really. Yeah, he doesn't really like any. Like that's one of the worst things when it comes to holidays. It's like, what do I get you? You don't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I usually get him a gift card to like a restaurant.
Yeah,
and then we go out to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because that way, like, because I felt like, oh, I'll spend time with you instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
You're not gonna use a tie. Like, I don't know. What do I get somebody who doesn't do anything?
So he doesn't have much in the way of hobbies. Is that?
No, he has zero hobbies. Yeah, he does nothing. If I went over there right now, he'd be sitting in his chair and he'd be watching TV, and that's what he would be doing. Guarantee, 100%. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Usually my go-to, because my dad's hard to shop for, but I found that getting him cuts of meat.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe. I mean, he doesn't really cook. The joke where they say my parents, they'll go out of town and find like a Red Robin or something. That's so true. They don't. They like basic shit. My mom, every time she always goes to a restaurant, she says, "I'll get like a steak, but can I get that very well done?" And then she'll get like A1 sauce, and it's like, Mom, you need the sauce because it tastes like shit because you cooked all the flavor,
all the goodness out of it. How funny! Yeah, that's I think it's a very baby boomer thing too. Because my parents are about the same age as your parents, and my parents have this thing where like, because that generation is a very like stuff generation. Like that's they just like stuff. Like they like having stuff. And like I really dread the day that they pass away, and I just have to like go through my mom's storeroom full of like stuff.
When my grandpa died, he had like boxes in his like big like shed that he had. He had just like boxes of like tax returns from like the 70s. It's like, why do you have this?
Right.
Like, why did you save like all these things? Well, you never know when you might. It's like, no, you don't need them. Yeah.
I mean, everything, like you're looking at about 75% of the things I own right now. Like this is it. Like, I mean, it's a lot, but it's because it's all on the fucking wall. I have like my comic book collection in storage. And that's all I can really think of.
Yeah, I've moved so much in the past that it's like I kept like downsizing. And now it's just like I don't really have anything.
Dude, I was in a thread. I was in a thread recently. Somebody's asking like, does any millennial have matching flatware?
Oh yeah,
I don't. Like every one of my plates and cups in there is like a different, and I don't have a lot of them.
I have 4 plates that match, and that's for like fancy events, which I've never had a fancy event ever in my life. So why do I have these? But,
and I think it's just one of those things where it's like we've all had to move so much. And I mean it's very rare. Like you own a house, but that's pretty rare. Like
they have fucking like every glass I own is like a beer glass from like some place that I went to, like some brewery. I never bought them. It's either I stole it, or I did like buy the beer, steal the glass kind of thing.
Right. It's like I think like matching flatware just disappeared with the middle class.
Having
what
like
happened.
a china closet or something like that. My grandma used to have one of those. I don't even know what happened to that. No, I have no idea where that is.
And you can't do anything with it. Like I was in an antique store a while back with my dad, and my dad's like, oh, just fucking trying to haggle with the guy on stuff. And he's like, I got this really rare, and I can't remember, it's some Japanese famous brand of that, like he inherited from my grandma or something. And the guy at the antique store is like, I don't want it. Like, I can't look around. Like nobody's buying any of the china
really
that you see. And my dad's like, I guess there is a lot of it in here.
Old Town Clovis in shambles right now. All they are 2 bars that both suck. 85 antique stores. Antique stores.
So, I don't know. Yeah, do your folks? I mean, are you have folks have a lot of stuff?
They have like I mean, the stuff they do have is dumb. Where it's like, oh, you guys have a million VHS cassette tapes. Like, sure. Why do you have all of these?
That's cool.
Yeah.
At least you're not having to go through a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
like I think you could throw away all those VHS tapes pretty guilt free. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all like Disney movies from when I was a kid. Yeah, it's like, you don't need Robin Hood, Dad. Like, why do you still have this?
Does your sister have kids?
No, she's she's so uninterested in anything like that. Like, she hasn't had a boyfriend since like college, probably.
Really?
She does not care. She teaches, and then every summer she goes on a crazy trip somewhere. So she's been to like China twice.
Good for her.
And she's been to like England and like Canada, and she just travels. Yeah.
Do your parents give her a hard time about that, or are they like, no? It's not like they're not like, we need grandbaby.
Nah, I've never heard that at once.
My
mom will always be like, "You dating anybody?" I'm just like, "Mom, if I was, you'd know." Eventually I'd be like, "You want to meet?" That kind of stuff. Yeah. So
they just want you to meet a nice church girl.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Instead, I'm hanging out with these punk rock bitches. No, just
fucking shitty comedians. I still think you, Taylor, and Marcus are the only thing keeping Aaron Lewis alive right now.
Yeah, for real.
And I'm so glad that you are in Zoom meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we Zoom pretty much every night. Record shit. Bouvet just hopped in last night.
Hell yeah.
Just recording that and then throwing out clips or whatever.
Do you guys have a name for that project?
Yeah, it's called Comedy Lames. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. What's the premise?
We just talk about whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's sometimes. I mean, throw Aaron Lewis. he'll come up with something. And he was talking about some shit the other day. His interests are so autistic.
Is that why he goes on social media? Goes on and on social media about trains?
Yeah, he'll find like a thing, and he'll just be like, oh, I like this kind of stuff. Yeah. How many like shit posts can I do on Facebook about this one thing?
About this fucking
wrestling. He genuinely enjoys wrestling. That's not a joke. But like trains. He was into NASCAR recently because he was watching a bunch of like old like NASCAR videos on YouTube. And I had said like, so Jeff Gordon then, because he's been famous like my entire life. Yeah. So I'm like, and then I said like, how old do you think Jeff Gordon even is? He goes, I don't know, 24. I'm like, that's his race car number. So it's like shit like that. Yeah.
I hope you guys make that project a reality. I'm looking forward to it. This is part of the show I bring it in for a landing.
Yeah, go for it.
Where we end on a dad anecdote.
Okay.
What's your favorite story to tell about your dad?
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I mean, most of my childhood would be like, oh, spring break? Okay, we're going to do yard work the entire time. But then, like, the last day of spring break, it'd be like, all right, let's go to, like, Disneyland or some shit. And it's
that's
okay, cool. Yeah, so that's, like, a lot of my memories are, like, sweating and doing, like, hard physical labor and then going to, like, Disneyland.
And then Mickey Mouse.
So it's like, all right, yeah, cool.
Explains why you get all hot and bothered every time you watch Fantasia.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, just rock hard. Yeah,
so hot.
Yeah, we'd go on, like, a lot of, like, pretty much once a year, go to, like, a Disneyland trip. And it would be my dad, like, probably miserable the entire time. Because who the fuck wants to go to Disneyland over the age of, like, 12? Yeah. So I have a lot of, like, memories of, like, going to, like, theme parks and stuff like that. That's cool, man.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, sweet, dude. Well, thanks for driving over in the middle of a pandemic.
Thanks,
if people want more Mike Wooten in their life, where do they go? Where should they find you on social media?
I mean, at Mike Wooten on Instagram. That's about it. Trying my worst on Twitter.
Yeah, your Twitter's good. I follow you.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Fuck all that. Follow Comedy Lames. Yeah.
Follow Comedy Lames. Do you guys have a Twitter?
Yeah, we have a Instagram. Yeah, we're putting up clips on that.
I'll link both. I'll link both your handles there.
Yeah, that's. I mean, because don't follow me because there's no shows. So watch dumb shit on the internet.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Well, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
And we're back. Mike Wooten, how great is he? Follow him on social media. Check out their podcast. They've been doing some really cool movie watch-along stuff on Zoom. It's I haven't actually tuned into one of those, but I did tune into one of Mike's comedy shows last week that he was running on Zoom, and it was fantastic. It was a great time. And so check him out. Follow him on all the social medias, and then you can rate and review Sad Dad on iTunes. You can like the Sad Dad Facebook page if you'd like, and that's it for this week, guys. I'll be back with a new episode hopefully in the next week or so for you. It's been a little hard to book guests guess. I'm going to be honest with you. Getting people to travel out here. I guess I could start doing these these interviews online. That might be something I have to explore in the future. But that's it. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And adios.